Your knees are hinge joints, which mean they have a very simple range of motion. Oftentimes with knee pain, it's likely to be other things around the knees causing the knees to be feeling like they're tugged out of position or having too much pressure put on them. The knees themselves aren't often the issue. In this video, I'm going to take you through my experiences with my own knee pain, the 2 crucial areas that you need to focus on to get rid of knee pain for good, and the 3 exercises that you can get started with right away. Growing up, I always had sore knees. The term growing pains was always thrown around. I hated sitting on the floor. I could not sit cross-legged at all. I always preferred to sit on a chair or to stand, and I really was not into fitness at all or any kind of sport. Before I even hurt my right knee badly, my knees would not bend fully. I could not sit on my heels in a resting position. I didn't even like to attempt it. It felt like my kneecaps were going to explode. I had constant on and off pain with both knees and lower back and hip pain. In my mid-20s, I finally decided I was going to get fit and I started doing martial arts multiple days per week. And my knee actually became one of my first really annoying long-term injuries. I was doing a warm-up drill in a Muay Thai kickboxing class and I tore my meniscus while hopping. It was constantly swollen, really painful. I couldn't bend it past 90 degrees. I walked with a limp for about a year. You can even see it in my wedding video. The little bit of cartilage that I tore in my knee was about half the size of my pinky fingernail, and it was causing constant problems. Depending on the type of tear you can have, sometimes the only way to get rid of that is an operation, which I had to get for hopping. The worst thing is though that even after the operation, I still had pain in both knees. Neither of them moved properly. I was like, why am I not fixed yet? And that's where a lot of people get stuck and why this video is going to be so useful for you. Well, it turns out our simple hinge joint is actually sandwiched between 2 incredibly mobile sets of joints, your hips and your feet and ankles. My knee issues were actually a result of having 0 hip mobility, especially in my right side, which is the side I got the tear on, and my feet were smooshed to oblivion. I used to wear cowboy boots all of the time, which had a big raised heel on them, and they were really thin at the front. They actually smooshed my toes in together, so much so that they'd started living on top of each other. To this day, I've worked with thousands of people. My ankle mobility and feet are the worst I had ever seen in anybody else. Here's how I fixed them both, which has led to me now having 0 knee pain. By the way, it's normal for knees to make noises as they move. As long as there's no pain with it, it is perfectly normal. Back to this one. There's something called crepitus, which loads of people experience. The cartilage in your knees isn't smooth like metal rubbing over each other. It's like a stiff, firm, but squishy substance. So whenever you move and there's pressure at different angles, it can make a little bit of noise and like little gas bubbles can be released. Think of it more like knee farts. However, if there is pain along with the noise or any kind of swelling or sharp sensations, you need to go and see a doctor. Your hips are the complete opposite of your knees. There is so much range of motion. They have so much more capacity for different movements. If your hip is limited in one way or more, your knees are going to take the punishment from that. For example, your quads are the 4 big muscles at the front of your thigh. If they are tight, they're going to pull upwards on the kneecap and can cause either pain below the knee or patellar tracking issues. Tight adductor muscles on the inside of your thighs can pull the knees inwards, which can lead to inner knee pain. Or if your glutes or TFL on the outside of your hip are tight, that can cause pain on the outside of the knee, or you can even be labeled with something like IT band syndrome. However, rather than us getting obsessed with one muscle or one problem area and starting to massage it or stretch it to death, we need to focus on how your hip functions. This is because the body is weird. You could be getting outer knee pain from weak glutes, and the weak glutes are hindering your hip extension. The lack of hip extension is causing your knees to cave inwards, which is then making your adductors feel tighter and then having a whole cascade effect of everything going wrong. That's why we need to make sure your hips are happy and healthy in all directions. As an example of only getting half the picture, if you read about tight quads or weak or tight glutes, you'll come across exercises like the couch stretch, the pigeon stretch, the clamshell, and the glute bridge. These 4 exercises together work on your hip extension, your hip abduction, and your external hip rotation. Now, some people do these and they feel like they get great results. That's why they come up in searches. But if you're missing other things like I was, you can feel like you have literally tried everything and nothing is working for you. And that is because those exercises miss out on the other 3 important elements of the hips, which is your hip internal rotation, your deep hip flexion, and your adduction strength as well. These could actually be where your true issues lie. So if you're not working on them, you're literally walking around with half of a hip. Imagine if I took the top hinges off a door and it kept being used. How bad would those bottom hinges start to feel? That's why your knees will start to hate you. And they definitely won't like hopping. The 3 exercises to add to catch those 3 missing functions are the 90-90. This is for your internal and your external hip rotation. This is basically how a ball and socket joint is supposed to move. It's supposed to rotate. The deep lunge rotation, this takes away any tightness on the inside of the thigh and also improves your deep hip flexion, which is your ability to get your knee up to your chest. And for the strength of the adductors, we want to use the Copenhagen plank. This is to make sure that you're actually able to tolerate your own body weight and hold yourself up. This is really important for the knees to feel stable. There's links for all of these things in the description. Remember that you want to have good range of motion and strength with your hips. You can get pain from both tightness and weakness. So if your movement seems okay, but the strength's not there, you're really going to benefit from the exercises later in the video. You've over 30 muscles in your feet and ankles, so trying to pinpoint any one that may be the problem is just not helpful. Like the hips, we need to focus on the broader functions. If your feet collapse inwards or your ankles roll outwards, the knee starts to follow, and remember, knees being hinges, they don't like to be swung on from a diagonal angle. Also, if your feet and ankles are weak, that means that your body can't absorb impact very well. This all travels upstream to the knees. So to combat this, we need to focus on 3 important functions. Number 1 is dorsiflexion. Dorsiflexion is your ability to get the knees over the toes. Don't let the myth that your knees should never pass your toes catch you out. If they couldn't, how would you walk upstairs? Your leg still needs to bend even if you do have limited dorsiflexion, so the knees have to find a workaround by either caving inwards or having too much pressure towards the outside. This is going to affect you when you're walking or running or trying to do exercises like squats. The lesson here is to make sure that your ankles can dorsiflex. Stretching your calves with a deep wall stretch is a really good place to start. We also have a follow along suggestion at the end of this feet section which covers healthy foot and ankle movement. Number 2, toe stuff. Your feet are constantly rebalancing and shifting your weight as you move. If they are weak, that is going to cause a lot of problems. If you can't bend and move your toes well, it's going to change your gait pattern, how you actually are able to walk. Instead of being able to walk with the feet straight in front, you'll have to turn your toes out and you'll start to roll inwards. This is going to cause inner knee pain, and you're basically going to be walking around as if you're wearing flippers all the time like a penguin, and nobody wants that. Especially not your knees. Your ability to move and control your toes, which we call toeability, is a good indication of how strong your feet are. Weaker foot muscles can affect your gait, your foot stability, and your balance, which actually brings me on to my next point. Number 3, single leg balance. It's all well and good having strong foot muscles, but we need to make sure we integrate it with balance exercises as well so that the whole leg and the hip feel stable. When you practice balance for long periods of time, what you're doing is putting your body in a situation that it has to learn how to correct itself. And that is super important. Those little extra weird random wobbles are all really helpful for giving your body and your knees better tolerance. 4 whoopsies. Life doesn't just go forwards and backwards. We don't always get to move perfectly in straight lines, so it is really important that we have that level of stability there so that we can cope when we're walking on uneven surfaces or playing the sports. Bad angles are only bad if you never expose yourself to them. Imagine if you signed up for a marathon and the furthest distance you had ever ran was from the sofa to the fridge. You don't want to go into something completely unprepared, and you don't want your body to get hurt from doing something simple. Like hopping. I'm gonna get one without the Snickers in the background. Your feet are pretty much involved in every exercise that you do. Unless you're sitting or in a handstand, you're going to be on your feet. Have a think next time you're doing some kind of training exercise and think, are your feet strong and feeling stable, or are they wobbling around like a wobbly thing that wobbles. Our foot playlist on our YouTube channel will be great for you to check out. Start with JP's 3-part series with the beginner, intermediate and advanced, and then when you feel ready you could move on to my 20-minute foot follow along for super duper strengthy feet. Fix your feet and a lot of stuff upstream works itself out. Once your hips move properly and your feet can actually hold you up, you want to strengthen the legs and the hips so your knees feel more supported. This is especially important if you are someone that's very flexible. You need to build that strength up. I have worked with people that have been told they've got bone-on-bone arthritis and that they've got the knees of a 90-year-old, but by working on this stuff, they've been able to make themselves pain-free 99% of the time. You're not just joints and cartilage, all of your muscles can be made better and stronger to support the knees and keep you pain-free. That's the stuff that you have control over. Sometimes your knees are just weak and that is fixable by you. The top 3 exercises to focus on are multi-directional lunges, deep split squats and deadlift variations. But Tom, lunges hurt my knees. Yes, there is a good chance that you're doing them wrong. And if you just got defensive about that and decided that you're doing them right, there's an even bigger chance that you're doing them wrong. It is very easy to accidentally load a joint more than a muscle. If we look at my arm here and I rock my body side to side like this, it looks exactly the same as if I actually press through and activate the muscles to do that same motion. It's exactly the same. It's very hard to tell those subtle differences. So you need to make sure that you're using the muscles in the right way to keep your knees feeling supported and not just grinding away at your knees. If you're doing tons of reps of something, you really want to make sure that the muscles are supporting the joints and you're not using speed or momentum to try and grind out those reps. The magic fix to this is to just slow things right down. Use a really slow tempo, and if you find it really challenging, that means it's definitely going to help you. Multi-directional lunges. This exercise is exactly as it sounds. It's lunges in multiple directions. So you'll keep one leg in a fixed position and you will lunge off at different angles to create those different positions you can get the hips into, not only to help stretch the hips out, but also to strengthen those ranges as well. This is super important for like fast changes of direction whenever you're running or playing a sport, and just those weird angles that you can get into. These things is what gives you the strength while you're there. You can use multi-directional lunges as a warm-up for any leg-based exercises, or you can use it as a cool-down at the end of sessions. Set a 60-second timer for each leg and see how many different positions that you can get into. For deep split squats, you're going to plant your feet in a long lunge position. The key thing about this is you're trying to get your knee over your toes as much as you can on the front leg. So this helps to work on your ankle dorsiflexion and also that full knee movement that's often missed. Your knees can and should bend fully. Think about it, if I asked you to only bend your elbow to a certain point and never any further than that, you would think I'm pretty weird. Knees are no different unless you have the likes of a knee replacement. You should be able to open and close your knees fully. The key to get the full benefits of the split squat is to make sure and regress it to a level that suits you, that you can get loads of reps in. So by elevating the front foot, you're going to be able to put less of your own body weight through. This is where we can start to focus on patella tracking and also having a strong foot in the position as well, so we can get safe, good, clean reps in. When you're doing this exercise, also check for differences side to side, because you may find if you are experiencing pain in one knee as you're doing a split squat, your leg might come inwards towards the middle of your body, and that could be one of the triggers for your knee pain. Really pay attention to your body whenever you're doing split squats. If you film yourself, that's super helpful as well, because sometimes you might not feel something and it could look completely different on camera. I'd recommend using split squats as a movement in their own right, so do 3 sets of 5 to 10 reps on each side, making sure you're doing really good, clean, solid reps. As well as strengthening the quad muscles with the deep split squats, we also want to make sure that we're using deadlift variations to help make the hamstring stronger as well. We don't need to go super heavy, but you need to know how to hinge and load your hips. When your knees bend, your hamstrings contract, and whenever you straighten them out, the hamstrings relax. So they're pretty important when it comes to knee movement. Knees love strong hamstrings. We have a video that teaches you how to hinge properly using a kettlebell. You can also learn it without any weight as well. Whenever you start to get competent on the 2 legs, you can then shift it to 1 leg and do the single leg deadlift. This is the same hinging pattern, but now we're on one leg. So now we can check for imbalances side to side, and we can work on our foot strength and balance at the same time. Make sure you actually feel your hamstrings and your glutes working properly. If you're trying to do deadlifts and you feel pain in your lower back, there's a good chance you need to revisit your technique. Use deadlift variations on any lower body session that you're doing. Build yourself up to being able to do 10 single leg deadlifts on each leg. When you've got the hang of that, you can actually start to weight them up, and then you could do 3 to 5 sets of around 8 reps from there. So there you have it. All you need to fix your knees is to improve the 6 functions of your hips, improve your ankle dorsiflexion and foot strength, and build strength through multiple angles with your hips and legs. Use the links in the description for the exercises that I mentioned. Try and test each one, and the ones that you find most challenging will be the ones that help you most. It may seem like a lot, but simply adding these into warm-ups or cooldowns or little mobility sessions doesn't take up a lot of time, and you will start to feel the difference. Whenever your alternative is having chronic knee pain, doing a few split squats and deep lunge rotations isn't that bad. Or if you want to remove all of the searching and just be given the right things to do in the right order, then the 2 best programs of ours to go for is the Simplistic Mobility Method and Stability Builder. Using those 2 regularly will help keep your knees happy and stop you having avoidable knee issues in future too. Nice. So you can hop. Pain-free hopping.